Welcome back, everybody. This is Eric here, Moss Pawn and Gun, and today we're going to try something a little bit different. We're going to do sort of a mail call video, and I'm going to take some of your emails and comments and things that you've given me on YouTube, and I'm going to try to address some of them, answer them for you. Chances are, if you're seeing this video, it's probably because we're a little bit behind on production, and a video like this is pretty easy to throw together, so we thought this might be a fun thing just to kind of change things up a bit. So with that being said, we're going to go on down the list here. I'm going to go through some emails and hopefully be able to give you guys some answers. Now, I have not read through these. I have no idea what they say. My wife printed them off, so I'm just going to read them as we go. We're going to do this hopefully in kind of a fun spirit here. So the first one is from William. I'm not going to put any last names on here just to protect people's identities, but I do have last names. But anyway, William here says, "Hi, is it true that Barry is no longer with Moss? Tell me it ain't so. I like Barry and all the knowledge you bring to you two bring to the videos. God bless, William." Yes, it is true that Barry's not with Moss any longer. He's got some things going on, both personally and medically, and he's probably not going to be back around for quite a while. We hope that he gets better, but it is partly a personal decision that he has made, as well as us collectively. There's not really a whole lot that I can really say about it right now due to legal purposes, but Barry is in a little bit of a pickle. We're all trying to help him in every way we can, but until further announcements are made, he will not be on the channel anymore. Alright, the next question is from Gerald. Let's see. "Hello, this may be a silly question, but why is the 4/8 in your moniker on YouTube? Were you born on the 8th of August, 1988? If so, I remember that day as NBC News marveled at that date when I was a teenager. Anyway, dude, you and your older fella with the beard do an awesome job. Never too old to learn. Thank you, sir." No, the 4/8 actually don't mean anything. Alright, it's completely random numbers. I think the original use of the 4/8 actually came back to like one of my mom's older email addresses, and I don't know why, but the numbers just kind of stuck. I've gotten all these weird conspiracy theorists that have asked me all these questions like, hey, does it mean Heil Hitler? Does it mean whatever, you know, is there some conspiracy behind it? No. Guys, it's just completely random numbers. You know how it is when you go to select a name on YouTube and then, oh, this one's taken, and then you just tap some random numbers in and then that just kind of becomes your handle? That's kind of what happened. Now, had I known that the YouTube channel was going to do all these cool things and really take off well like it has, I probably would have chosen a different username, but that's what I've got, so that's what we're going to work with. Alright, we've got a question from Hunter. He says, "Eric, what kind of single shot 10 gauge do you always shoot? I can't seem to find one like it anywhere. Thanks, Hunter." Well, I happen to have it right here. It's a this one's a H&R Partner Model SB2, and it's basically their turkey gun, and we cut the barrel down to just over 18 inches, right at the legal length, and it's basically just a 10 gauge turkey gun. This one's signed by Ted Nugent. Pretty awesome there. But anyway, yeah, that's what it is. It's an H&R SB2, basically in their Partner line, and basically if you look for the 3-inch turkey gun that they make, that's all it is. And what I do is I take it and put it in the blasting cabinet, blast all the finish off, blast all the camo off the stock, and Duracoat them. I've done one for Chad and one for me. The older Partner shotguns actually use wood stocks that are just finished, you know, walnut. Those are nice if you can find the older ones. That's actually the one that Chad has. And then mine, the only one that H&R still sells in their line is the turkey gun, and it has a camo finish. So hopefully that lets you know there. Alright, Matt is asking, "Hey guys, what do you think are the best rifle/pistol combinations, but the rifle and pistol should have to be the same caliber and able to utilize the same magazines possibly? Thanks, Matt." So I believe what Matt is referring to, he wants to know what type of gun would take the same caliber pistol magazines, but you would have a rifle and a pistol. And, you know, that's hard to say. Personally, I myself am a big fan of the Glock 19. I have a Glock 26. I don't have a Glock 19 yet, but I do want to purchase another Glock 19. I know a lot of people always go, yeah, Glock this, Glock that. But honestly, I do like the Kel-Tec Sub 2000, and there are a ton of pistol caliber carbines on the market that take Glock magazines. One of them is the JR, the Just Right. Those are made in New York. Very nice guns for the most part. Pretty accurate, pretty reliable. So the J&R is definitely an option, even if you have a 45 Glock, if you have a 40, a 9mm. All of those guns are set up to take Glock magazines. Now, with that being said, there are other options on the market. For a while, Ruger had what they called a police carbine, and that gun would take all of the Ruger magazines. That gun's not in production anymore. They weren't insanely popular. I think the biggest thing is that just what I look for in a carbine, I want something that holds a lot of rounds. So I like the Glock 33 round magazines because they have generous capacity and they work. All right, so I know some people will bash Glock. I mean, yes, the gun has an ergonomics of a 2x4, but at the end of the day, when you have 33 round magazines that work, and they work in a pistol, they work in a rifle, to me that's kind of a nice thing to have laying around. And a lot of people talk a lot of smack about the Kel-Tec Sub 2000, but to be honest with you, I've got a Kel-Tec Sub 2000 that I know that I've shot at least 2,000 rounds out of since I've had it, and I've never had a single issue out of the thing. So with that being said, the JR, the Kel-Tec, I think Glock is a good way to go if you're looking for high capacity, magazine that works both in a rifle and a pistol. So hopefully that pointed you in the right direction, Matt. Thanks. All right, the next question is from Curtis. He says, I'm looking for an economical barrel crowning tool. I'm fixing to shorten a 22 Magnum barrel and I would like to do it myself. Thanks in advance for your help, Curtis. Okay? Well, there's really no such thing as an economical gunsmithing tool. Generally, your crowning tools, your cylinder refacing tools, anything like that are generally going to run you a pretty good bit of money, but they're going to be investment quality tools that do the job time after time, and it's something that you can invest good money into and keep using them. And, tools are generally made to use over and over and over again. If you're only going to do one barrel and you're going to cut and recrown one 22 Magnum barrel, like you say here, it's probably best to just go on and take it to a gunsmith and pay them to do it, because the cylinder refacing tools, the 11-degree cut facing tools that you see us use when we do like the Mosin builds, those sets are available from Brownells, and just the 11-degree target crown cutting tool, and then the pilots that you need for the 22, you have a 90-degree cut that makes the surface of the top of the muzzle completely 90 degree and square. Then you have your 11 degree that finishes it up. So I would say that by the time you buy both those cutting burrs, and then you buy the actual pilots for 22 Magnum, you're probably going to end up dropping about $250 on those tools. The tools are very high quality. They're able to be used hundreds of times, but for a one-off job, unless you're planning on doing many more barrels like that, I probably would just take it to a professional, pay them to do it. All right, that's my response to that. Thanks for the question. We're going to move on to Lewis, or Louis, however you say his name. Hope I didn't get it too wrong. He wants to know, he says, I was wondering if it were possible to load 7.62 by 25 with a cut down piece of 223 brass. I saw a number of videos on YouTube and did a little read up, and I wanted a third opinion on if I could buy brass, but 5.56 and 223 is more available. What do you think? Well, I'm going to throw you a little bit of wisdom here, Louis. I've actually done it before, and it does work. You can take 223, 5.56 brass. There's actually a couple of really neat things you can do with 5.56 brass as a parent caliber. One is you can neck it down and load 7.62 by 25. I have done it. It works okay. You can also form 300 blackout of it. As many of you know, 300 blackout, of course, is formed off of 5.56 as a parent case. That's why it's able to use the same bolt face, work in the same magazines, what have you. A little known fact as well is that you can take 223 brass, cut it down to length, and you can load 30 carbine with it. Now you have to have a special set of inside neck reaming dies that allow you to open it up in order to accept a 30 caliber bullet. If you're planning on loading a lot of 7.62 by 25 and you're wanting to use 5.56 as a parent casing, you can most certainly do that. you will need to order an inside the neck reaming die from RCBS. They're generally a special order item, and they're going to set you back probably about $125 or so, but you can make that cost up rather quickly by using that brass. If you're just going to load 400 or 500 rounds of 7.62 by 25, I would strongly recommend just calling up Starline. Go ahead and order, a bunch of brass from them. For the price of the die, the inside the neck reaming die that you would need to do that brass with, not to mention all of the time to actually convert it, you could probably just take that money and buy 500 pieces and be done with it. So the short answer is yes, it can be done. The long answer is, unless you're really wanting to invest in the proper tooling, it's probably going to be an exercise in futility for you. All right. This next question comes from Jacob. He says, "Hi, Iraq Vet. I'm looking into going on my first hunt pretty soon. Going to be hunting whitetail mostly, besides the occasional coyote every now and then. So I'm asking your guys' advice on a somewhat budget rifle, caliber, and scope. Now I've had a Remington 770 and 308, and the bolt was really rough. So preferably not a 770. All right, Jacob. Well, the answer there, if I had to pick a budget hunting rifle, I would definitely look strongly at the Savage Axis. We do have a video on that rifle if you're curious to see the gun in action. We've also done videos on the 770. We understand that budget bolt actions are a really hot thing. There are a lot of people getting into hunting now. So obviously, yes, there's going to be those budget rifles out there that are excellent. Many of the Savage Axises come with a package style deal where you get a scope with it. It feeds from like a 4-round box. Now, the quality of the Axis is going to be pretty much on par with the 770, but if you're happy with the accuracy of the 770 and you want a gun that maybe just has a little bit nicer trigger, a little bit smoother bolt, I would look strongly at the Savage Axis. Really, pound for pound and dollar for dollar, they're really about the best rifles for the money for hunting that you can really get. The only thing close to that would be that if you wanted to peruse all the pawn shops or some of the smaller gun shops and just find you like a nice Mauser sporter with a scope on it, I bought Jacob not you, but my Jacob, bought him a 7mm Mauser Chilean 1895 sporter. It's got a decent little Weaver K4 on it. And I'll tell you what, the gun shoots really good out to like 400 yards. I mean, we've shot it over at the farm, and it shoots really accurate with boring regularity. The 7mm of flat caliber shoots really, nice and flat trajectory, good ballistic coefficients. So caliber-wise, you're not really going to go wrong with 308. So to answer your question, I would say look strongly at the 308 and the Savage Axis. I think you'd be quite pleased with that. All right. Here we've got a question from Brad. He says, "What handgun would you suggest for a new left-handed shooter?" Oh, that's a tough one. Wow, that kind of caught me off guard there. So a new left-handed shooter. Well, I would say that short of buying a gun that is actually set up for a lefty, which of course we know that in the rifle world there are left-handed specific rifles that can be had. Generally, pistols aren't really given the same treatment. So what I would look for is something that is maybe a top ejection style pistol, something that ejects more up than say left or right. But generally that's not even a big deal because you don't really hold the gun near your face or anything. There are several good handguns out there that are ambidextrous. You can get something that has ambidextrous magazine release or slide stop. You can have something with an ambidextrous safety. Of course, we know that all these pistols on the market now, many of them are coming in ambidextrous form. One of the most readily available ambidextrous pistols that comes to the mind for me would be that if you want a 45 ACP, you probably want to look strongly at the FN Tactical. The 45 ACP, it's a 15-shot magazine. As far as I know, everything on it's ambidextrous. It is a very high-quality firearm, very accurate, has a very large magazine capacity if you want 15 shots of 45 ACP in your hand. If you're wanting something a little smaller, like say a single stack carry piece, you could look at the Walther PPX. That gun has an ambidextrous, I want to say the magazine release is ambidextrous, but I know that the magazine release is ambidextrous. In terms of the slide stop, I'm not really sure. That's a very good question. There are a lot of guns out there, but I would look for something that offers ambidextrous features and basically just find something that fits your hand nicely in something that points naturally and has ambidextrous controls, I don't think you'll go wrong there. All right, so thanks for that, Brad. All right, now we've got a question from Michael. He says, I'm curious on the cost to build a Fugly Mosin again. I have 2 of these and would like to do this to one of them. I would like to shorten the barrel, flash suppressor, turn down the bolt handle, install a scope mount, and drop it into the Archangel Mosin stock, unless you think those stocks are not a good idea. Thanks for any info or advice in doing this. Well, Michael, generally the Fugly Builds start at around 6 builds. All right, and basically each gun is built to order. So what I would encourage you to do, if you're serious about having a Fugly built, or if any of you are, as many of you know, FPS Russia, we built a gun for him and he did a video on it, if you're curious to see that. Turned out pretty cool. Some nice cinematography there that he did there. But anyway, you know, the guns generally are going to run around 6 bills plus, and that of course depends on the components you want to use, you know, what type of overall work we're going to be doing. But just to give you an idea, I mean, like shortening a barrel, you know, an operation like that to shorten and recrown, probably looking at around $80 or so. Flash suppressor, you know, that of course, I mean, you can go from everything to just a cheap thread-on, you know, AK style break, all the way up to like a Seekins Precision or an OSS or something like that. So really, this is a difficult question to answer right off the gate. And I would say that if you're serious about having one built, just give us a call up at the shop. The number is 770-968-4949. And we'll be happy to walk you through a build and make sure you get what you need, okay? So thanks for that, Michael. All right, and I think that's it. So basically that was all the questions that we have for this particular time. Now I have probably hundreds more that I could print out. So if you guys like this concept, be sure to let me know. I'll be happy to do more of them. I'm sorry if this video is a little bit dry or maybe drawn out, but some of you that have asked questions, hopefully this gives you a direct answer. And this is great filler material, especially when we have a whole lot going on post-production wise. This is a very easy video for me to throw together, just so you guys have something to go on. And I know the mail call concept is kind of neat. As time goes on, if you like this concept, we can get a little bit more involved. Maybe actually do some actual video responses to some of the questions within the video and treat it kind of like a little mini episode where we take maybe 3 or 4 very pertinent questions and then act out a little video and show you, you know, answer your question in video form, and that way it's at least a little bit more, you know, sort of involved, and, you know, gives you a little bit more of a visual idea of what the answers are and how we would approach certain concepts. So we appreciate you watching today. Be sure to subscribe. Check us out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. All the links are below. Check out our website if you'd like, and we'll catch you guys next time.